In math so far, students have learned base 10 strategies. So with base 10, they should understand where the ones, tens, hundreds, then the thousands, then the 10,000s, then the 100,000s, and then eventually the millions. They should understand those place values. They should also understand how to compare numbers. So, for example, they should be able to make a ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, and so on place value chart. Okay, so let's say we are comparing the numbers 1,247, and we are comparing that with 2,124. To see which number is greater or less, I could plug this in up here. So there's our first number right here, and I'm going to put our second number right below it to see which one is greater. And then you start. Usually, when we add, we start in the ones place, but when we compare, we're going to start in the greatest place value first, which is over here. So if you look, 2,000 is greater than 1,000. So that means that 2,000 is greater than 1,000. You might have heard students say that there is an alligator or Pac-Man, and it wants the larger number or the greater number. So that would be 2,124. And we know this because 2,000 is larger than 1,000. Okay, so that is comparing numbers. The next thing students have learned, and the most recent, is rounding. So students should be able to round to the nearest 10, 100, 1,000, and so on. So, for example, let's say we're going to round the number 1,246. Try to do a different number. 1,246 to the nearest 10. So I'm going to underline the tens place. Okay, and if I was using a number line, then I would start with 1,240. Then what's my next 10? What's after 40 is 50. Okay, what's between 1,240 and 1,250? 1,400 or 1,245. Okay, and then I put this on my number line. So I have 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45. 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. So 46 is right here. And so it is closest to 1,250. That's to the nearest 10. Okay, so now I could do it to the nearest 100. So here I'm going to do the 100 now. And I could still use that same number. Nearest 100 now, so I'm going to go 100. So we have ones, tens, hundreds. Okay, so place value, or not place value, number line again. I've got 1,200, or what's my next 100? 1,300. All right, and then what's between 200 and 300? Should be 250. Okay, and then I place this on my number line. So here I'm going to count by tens. So I go 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. So I've got 1,200, 1,210, 1,220, 1,230, 1,240, which is right around where I want to be. So it's about right here. This number is right here on my number line. So it is closest to 1,200. So that's the nearest 100. And I'll do one more example. We'll do the 1,000. 1,200. 246. Okay, nearest 1,000. So I'm going to underline my 1,000. And now this one, it's either going to be 1,000, it's going to stay there, or it's going to go up to 2,000. And then I put my midpoint. What's between 1,000 and 2,000? 1,500. Here we're counting by hundreds. So you go 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, 1,000. So if I look, I've got 200. So 100, 200. So I'm a little bit further actually, but that's okay. I'm about right here. So I am closest to 1,000. So that rounded to the nearest 1,000 is 1,000. Okay? All right, so that's about it for math. Next week, we are starting addition and subtraction with regrouping. So when you took math when you were younger, you probably heard borrowing, but now we call it regrouping. Because really, if you borrow something, you give it back. But if you regroup something, we are not giving it back. We're moving it over to another group. Wow, I spelled subtraction wrong. Sorry, subtraction. So that's what we're doing next week. You'll be seeing students, hopefully, let's say we're doing 23 minus 5. If you look, if you have 3 things, you cannot take 5 away from them, so you have to regroup. We used to have 2 10s. Now we only have 1 10. Now I'm going to bring my 10 over here. So now I have 10 and 3. That's 13. Okay, now I have 13 minus 5. That's 8. So I have 18. So that's regrouping. Lastly, for ELA, we are reading fiction and nonfiction text. And we have been practicing pulling out key events or key ideas. And then we're using that to write a summary. So here's an example of what we did. We read a little short text that was fictional, so not true, not real. And then we wrote a summary with it. So if you'll notice, we start with in the text. We say where the text is, who wrote it. We've got periods and capital letters, transition words, next, in the text, all that. So there is our example summary. You'll also notice we went over text features like photographs, titles, labels, sidebars, and went over vocabulary like economy means money, citizens are people that work in a community. And then here we have our